Hey sports fans, welcome to the Ballers Club Prez Show. Today I'm going to be doing a quick review of a knife that I just got, and this is a brand new knife from the Benchmade Knife Company. This is a 2022 release that just became available, and it is the Benchmade Weekender. I'll give you my initial opinion on it here directly. Hey, so we're back. It was just too windy out there in the swamp to be able to find a place to film where you would actually be able to hear anything other than wind noise. I mean, even here it's kind of windy. But anyways, here is the knife again. And when we open it up, the main blade takes up most of the handle. So it has good blade to handle economy, which is something I always like to see in a knife. The blade opens very smoothly. It has a very well-defined half stop, and it's smooth in between, you know, from close to half to open. And it's weird it doesn't spring back when you do this, but it takes a good amount of pressure. Like, it's not the stiffest slip joint in the world, but it takes a decent amount of pressure to be able to close it, which is good. So that means you don't have to worry about it, like, you know, slipping closed on your hand somehow. I've complained about that with other knives on this channel. The small blade definitely takes more pressure to open and close. Part of that is the mechanical advantage because you're pulling from here, but it's also very smooth and has a very well-defined half stop. But it is, I think, a stronger spring. It's not just the mechanical advantage as to why it feels so much stiffer. The little bottle opener it has is on the other side, and it opens super easy, and it opens only this far. I wish it opened like that. For some reason I would like that better, but still, this works. The weird thing about the bottle opener that I didn't know until I actually had this knife in hand is that it doesn't sit between the liners. It actually is between, I guess, the spring and micarta. So it's not sitting in between the liners itself. So it feels a little weird because one of its bearing surfaces is the micarta, which I'm not a fan of. I kind of wish they had put it opposite to the small blade. If they could have just put it on this pivot, and, you know, to me that would have made a lot more sense. But maybe they would have had to change the shape of the handle right here or something in order to give you a place to pull that bottle opener open. I'm not sure what the reasoning was. I think they should have figured that out and put it there instead of where it actually is. But, you know, it's a bottle opener, it's not a big deal. So the closest thing Benchmade makes to compare this knife to would be the Proper, which is even in the same color of micarta by the looks of it. Here's just a quick size comparison. Obviously the Weekender is bigger and thicker because it has to have two blades in it. The main blade thicknesses seem to be exactly the same between the Proper and the Weekender. The Proper is a little stiffer to open and a little stiffer to close, and also has a half stop, but the Proper feels like mush. It feels like mush on the way open to the half stop, and then from the half stop to open, and same with going closed. It's a little bit harder of a pull, but it's not smooth. It literally feels like mush, and then because of that the half stop's a little bit mushy as well. It's not so well defined. Like when you compare it to something like a GEC, which has a very well defined half stop and it's smooth and very strong springs, like this, in my opinion, is the ideal for a slip joint. The Weekender is getting closer to the way this opens it's a big improvement over the Proper. So if you have a Proper and you're thinking to yourself, well, I kind of like the Weekender, but the way Benchmade makes slip joints is just garbage. This isn't so much like the Proper. It's not as good as a GEC or a, you know, a Case or something. I mean, GECs probably have the best back spring, but it's getting there. So overall, my impression of this knife is that it is very practical. It's made out of decently durable materials. You have the choice of the micarta, or there's a gray G10 version, which I really don't like. The micarta, what I wish it was I wish it was diamond wood. I wish I had a diamond wood option. I mean, they're already kind of channeling the Hunt series a little bit with the, you know, the orange pivot collars that are on this mini Crooked River. Like, you know, it has that. If they had done this one in diamond wood, I would love it. It would be a little bit closer to traditional styling, which I would really appreciate, but still with the modern materials that are so durable. The micarta is okay too. Like, I'm not going to complain too hard about it. I just really wish they had done one in diamond wood. And this knife, this Weekender, sort of does, it's sort of like a cross almost between these two. It has, like, you know, the slip joint and the micarta, the Proper, but then it has some elements of the Benchmade Hunt series, you know, and they put it just into a nice practical package. This knife screams to me, I'm here to cut stuff. I'm not here to show off. Not looks wise, not size wise. It's just here to cut things. This is a knife you actually could carry every single day in your pocket. You know, if you were to take this out in a mall, open up the small blade to open your allergy medication or something, you're not going to be getting looks from people. If you take something like this out in the mall to do that, yeah, you might look like a bit of a menace to some people. But this, not so much. Like, this is right at home, at the office, in the lunchroom, or anything like that. Especially with the fact that it has the small blade on it. You know, like, this is the type of knife that your grandfather would have carried. All the modern materials of today, but it has the practicality and the non-threateningness of, like, every Case stockman or small stockman. So, you know, and I think that was the obligatory grandpa's knife is the small stockman, maybe trappers or toothpicks. So very practical, very utilitarian. This will handle most of the cutting tasks most people do on a regular day. If you're going to have to bet your life on a folding knife, probably not this, probably something more like the Adamas or something. But you know, just for regular stuff, and especially if you have a fixed blade in, you know, on your person as well, if you're out doing some kind of a 19-day canoe trip or something like that, hell, this should be a welcome addition. And they even thought of extra things like this bottle opener. Like, great idea. You can open up your craft sodas or what have you. Actually, speaking of craft sodas, let's enjoy us a Puma Cola from the Sprecher brand. Thanks, Benchmade. So anyways, that's my opinion of this knife for the most part. Price wise, I paid in Canadian dollars. These are like $288 and they're $225 US. So one of the big complaints everyone has so far that I've read on Reddit or whatever about these exact models is the price. So I don't know when Benchmade has ever made a cheap knife, so I don't know why they would expect this one to be cheaper. The same people complain about the price of every Benchmade, and you know, if it's too much for you, whatever. This is a made in the USA knife. I know it's durable. I trust the brand Benchmade. You know, all their great warranty and all that kind of stuff. The only thing left for us to do on this review is an out-of-the-box sharpness test. So I have my leg hair here and we'll just see. So it does shave, but not fully. That's on the main blade. So actually not that sharp out of the box. Not impressed with the out of the box sharpness on this one. We'll try the small blade here. Actually, oh, I have hair on my arm. Why don't I just do that? I don't know. This isn't what I'm used to from Benchmade. I mean, it's cutting hair, but it's not cutting all the hair in one easy pass like I'm kind of used to from Benchmade right out of the box. People might not like Benchmade's edges out of the box. I do. They're always super sharp and it's always a very toothy edge. This edge and the main blade is the same. I don't know how well that's picking up, but it's not very toothy. It's also not very sharp, but it's not very toothy. The grinds, being that it's such a high flat grind, it's actually very thin behind the edge. So this should be a good slicer once it's touched up a little bit on a diamond stone maybe. But yeah, out of the box, I think it's just that, I mean, it feels okay, but it's just not really cutting a lot of hair, so it definitely needs some work. I think if you touch it up, it'll go fast. They either left the burr or something, or they didn't quite get the full V on that, whatever, secondary bevel, I guess. Anyways, that's my review. I'm gonna carry this knife. I will like it. If it was in diamond wood, I would be so much happier and I would be in a buying frenzy. But the micarta is nice too. Gray G10, kind of ugly. But yeah, I'll carry this and it'll be a great knife. This knife screams to me, I'm not here to show off. I'm just here to cut stuff, and I could deal with that. It'll be handy. Anyways, Ballers Club Prez, signing off.